Good afternoon. I'm excited to learn more about you. Could you begin by telling me about yourself?
I appreciate the opportunity to be here and discuss my background today. I'm a software developer with several years of experience in building server-side applications. I'm someone who enjoys problem solving and creating efficient code that benefits end users and business operations.
Thank you for that detailed introduction. Could you share how you heard about this position?
One of my colleagues sent me the job description and encouraged me to apply, knowing that I've been looking for a challenging role in back-end development. I researched the company's projects and felt this might be an excellent place to continue my growth.
That sounds good. I'd like to understand why you became interested in our company. Could you tell me more about that?
I've admired your company's focus on innovation and user-centric products for some time. Your reputation for encouraging continuous learning and collaborative work is very appealing to me. I believe it's the right environment for someone who values team synergy and high-quality code standards.
Great to hear. Can you walk me through your resume so I can have a clearer picture of your professional history?
Certainly. I earned my bachelor's degree in computer science and started my career as a junior Java developer at a small tech firm. After 2 years there, I moved to a larger company to work on microservices, where I gained exposure to cloud deployments. My latest position involves designing APIs using Spring Boot, managing databases, and optimizing performance for large-scale traffic.
I appreciate that summary. Now, let's explore your background in more detail. Could you describe what you studied and explain why you chose that major?
I studied computer science because it aligned with my passion for technology and problem solving. From an early age, I was fascinated by how software could automate tasks and improve everyday life. Pursuing a major in computer science allowed me to develop a deeper understanding of data structures, algorithms, and programming methodologies.
Were there any particularly memorable academic projects during your studies?
One project that stands out is the web-based campus navigation system I developed with a team. We designed it using Java servlets and a backend database that included building an algorithm to provide optimized walking routes. It was an excellent opportunity to combine theoretical knowledge with real-world application.
That sounds impressive. In what ways do you think your education prepared you for this role?
My coursework provided a strong foundation in object-oriented programming and best practices in coding. I also learned the importance of collaborating with others to debug, optimize, and refine programs. The skills I developed during those academic projects have been directly transferable to my professional roles.
Thank you for sharing that. Next, I'd like to talk about your professional experience. Could you describe your current job responsibilities?
I'm responsible for designing backend logic using Java and Spring Boot frameworks. My tasks include creating RESTful APIs, integrating with third-party services, overseeing database architecture, and ensuring that deployments follow CI/CD pipelines. I also mentor junior developers and participate in code reviews to maintain quality standards.
That sounds quite extensive. What are some key achievements you've had in your previous roles?
In my last position, I successfully migrated a monolithic application to a microservices architecture, reducing downtime by more than 40%. I also introduced automated testing protocols that helped catch bugs early, saving both time and resources for the engineering team.
Why are you looking to change jobs at this point in your career?
I'm looking for an organization where I can contribute to larger-scale projects that have a significant impact on users. I also want to continue expanding my technical expertise, particularly in distributed systems. Your company's growth and technology stack seem like a great match for these goals.
Could you describe a typical workday in your current position?
I usually start the day reviewing pull requests from team members. Then I participate in stand-up meetings to synchronize tasks and discuss any blockers. My afternoons are focused on coding new features, refining documentation, and coordinating with QA teams to address any testing feedback.
Let's move on to skills and competencies. Could you outline the technical skills you possess that are relevant to this role?
I'm highly proficient in Java, Spring Boot, and relational databases like MySQL and PostgreSQL. I have hands-on experience with microservices architecture, Docker, Kubernetes, and cloud platforms like AWS. I'm also familiar with message queue technologies like RabbitMQ for asynchronous communication.
Very thorough. Could you describe a complex technical problem you've solved and how you approached it?
There was a performance bottleneck in an API that caused delays when handling high-volume requests. I analyzed the logs and discovered inefficient database queries. I optimized the queries, introduced appropriate indexing, and reduced processing time by implementing caching for frequently accessed data. This drastically improved response times for end users.
Which programming languages or tools are you most proficient in?
Java is my primary language, and I frequently use tools such as Git, Maven, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. Additionally, I'm comfortable with front-end languages like JavaScript for minor UI fixes, but my main expertise lies in back-end development.
How do you stay updated with evolving industry technologies?
I follow technology forums, attend webinars, and subscribe to newsletters from reputable sources. I also engage in open-source projects and try to implement new frameworks or libraries in personal side projects to keep my skills fresh.
Let's talk about soft skills. How do you handle workplace stress, particularly when deadlines are tight?
I maintain clear communication with my team and set realistic expectations early on. If something becomes overly stressful, I break tasks into smaller components and address them methodically to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Regular short breaks help me reset and stay focused.
That makes sense. Can you describe your communication style?
I prioritize clarity and transparency in all my interactions. I share progress updates, potential blockers, and any concerns I have as soon as I identify them. I believe concise and respectful communication ensures that everyone remains aligned on objectives.
How do you typically work in team environments?
I thrive in collaborative settings where members share knowledge and support each other's tasks. I contribute by bringing my expertise and also encourage others to voice their insights. If team members have different viewpoints, I listen actively to find a solution that fits our common goals.
Could you provide an example of conflict resolution?
In one project, two teammates had differing opinions on the coding style for a new feature. I arranged a quick code review session where each person could explain their reasoning. We combined the best parts of both approaches and documented the agreed style in our project guidelines. This maintained harmony and kept the project moving efficiently.
Now for some behavioral questions. Could you tell me about a time you failed and what you learned from that experience?
Early in my career, I underestimated the complexity of a feature integration, which caused a delay. I learned the importance of thoroughly analyzing requirements and involving stakeholders early on. Since then, I've improved my estimation techniques and communication with project managers.
Please describe a situation where you showed leadership.
During the microservices migration, I led a small team responsible for refactoring core services. I organized daily progress updates, made sure everyone had the resources they needed, and stepped in to handle technical roadblocks. Ultimately, We completed our migration on schedule and with fewer bugs than anticipated.
How do you handle criticism when it comes from peers or supervisors?
I view criticism as a chance to gain new insights. I remain calm, thank the person for their feedback, and analyze the suggestion to see how I can improve. If I'm unclear about their concerns, I ask clarifying questions because understanding the root of the feedback is essential.
Please give an example of a challenging project you completed and how you managed your time.
I once worked on a high-stakes project involving real-time data processing. I prioritized tasks by focusing on the critical data ingestion pipelines first, ensured that the architecture was scalable, and allocated sufficient time for thorough testing. I combined daily tracking of milestones with weekly retrospectives to adjust the timeline as needed.
How do you prioritize multiple tasks when you have pressing deadlines?
I begin by evaluating the urgency and impact of each task. Then I assign priority levels and communicate timelines to stakeholders. I use project management tools to visualize progress and ensure that I'm tackling the most time-sensitive or high-impact tasks first.
Let's dive into role-specific scenarios. How would you handle a situation where the back-end application you built is suddenly facing a surge in traffic?
I would analyze metrics from monitoring tools such as New Relic or Prometheus to identify performance bottlenecks. Then I would scale up resources either horizontally or vertically using cloud services. Additionally, I'd ensure that caching and load balancing mechanisms are optimized for high-volume requests.
What would be your approach if a newly launched feature is receiving frequent bug reports from users?
My first step would be to gather detailed logs and feedback to replicate the issue. After identifying the root cause, I'd create a plan to fix the bug, prioritize it in the sprint, and implement thorough regression testing. Then I would communicate to users about the fix and follow up with additional monitoring.
How would you improve our continuous integration and delivery process if you discovered inefficiencies?
I'd recommend incorporating more automated testing in the CI pipeline and possibly break down build jobs into smaller stages to reduce bottlenecks. I would also evaluate the deployment strategy to ensure we're leveraging modern practices, such as rolling updates or blue-green deployments, to minimize downtime.
What strategies would you use to optimize application security for our backend services?
I'd enforce best practices like input validation, parameterized queries, and secure authentication protocols such as OAuth or JWT. Implementing robust logging and regularly updating libraries for known vulnerabilities are also crucial. I'd conduct periodic security audits and penetration tests to uncover any hidden risks.
Thank you. Now let's discuss your career aspirations and motivation. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope to deepen my expertise in back-end engineering and possibly transition into a technical lead role. My goal is to guide and mentor teams while continuing to stay hands-on with coding.
What are your long-term career goals beyond that time frame?
I ultimately want to contribute to architecture-level decisions, shape technology roadmaps, and help companies build highly scalable, resilient systems. I find fulfillment in balancing managerial responsibilities with hands-on technical work.
Why are you interested in this specific position?
This role involves developing large-scale applications and working with cutting-edge technologies. I'm also drawn to the idea of collaborating with a team of talented developers and learning from their expertise while sharing my own.
How does this position align with your overall career trajectory?
It provides an ideal environment for building robust back-end solutions while embracing newer cloud-native approaches. That aligns well with my plan to become a more versatile engineer who can manage complex systems.
Let's talk about company and culture fit. What do you know about our organization?
I know that your company has pioneered several successful software products and is focused on continuous R&D investment. You also have a strong track record of promoting from within, which is attractive to someone like me who values growth opportunities.
And why do you want to work here?
I appreciate that the company emphasizes collaboration, learning, and innovation. I also admire the problem-solving approach demonstrated in your latest products, which aligns with my desire to tackle challenging projects.
How do you think our company values resonate with your personal values?
Your emphasis on teamwork and integrity aligns with my belief in maintaining open communication and acting ethically in all professional interactions. I'm convinced that joining an organization with these values will allow me to contribute more meaningfully.
What kind of work environment helps you thrive?
I excel in environments that balance autonomy with collaboration. When I have clear goals yet the freedom to propose solutions, I feel empowered and stay highly motivated. It's also beneficial if the team fosters open dialogue and actively shares knowledge.
Now, for some questions about potential challenges. Could you describe a complex problem you've solved in your previous work?
We had a legacy service that required extensive refactoring to meet new security standards. I re-architected the core functionalities, updated dependencies, and replaced deprecated libraries. The process involved meticulous testing and ongoing communication with stakeholders to ensure compatibility with other services.
How do you approach learning new skills in a fast-evolving industry?
I set specific learning goals based on the skill gap I want to fill. Then I find reliable resources, such as official documentation and industry-recognized courses, to build a structured learning plan. I also believe in doing hands-on projects to reinforce the knowledge gained.
Could you give an example of innovative thinking you applied to solve a difficult problem?
I once introduced a caching mechanism using Redis to handle frequently accessed data in real time, drastically reducing database hits. This idea came from analyzing traffic patterns and recognizing that many API requests were repeating the same queries. That change significantly improved performance and reduced overall latency.
How do you handle unexpected challenges when they arise mid-project?
I assess the severity and potential impact of the challenge immediately. I bring the team together to brainstorm possible solutions and decide on the best path forward. If needed, I adjust the project timeline and communicate the new plan to all stakeholders, ensuring we still meet core objectives.
Let's move on to salary and expectation discussions. What are your salary expectations for this position?
Based on my research of market rates for back-end developers with similar experience, I'm looking for a compensation package in the range of X to Y. However, I'm open to negotiation if there are other valuable benefits and growth opportunities.
Are you comfortable with our company's compensation structure, which includes a performance-based bonus?
Yes, I believe a performance-based component can be motivating, especially if goals and evaluation metrics are communicated clearly. I would be happy to discuss the specifics further.
What benefits are most important to you in your next role?
I value comprehensive health insurance, opportunities for professional development, and flexible work arrangements. I also appreciate companies that invest in their employees' continuous education, such as covering certifications or conference attendance.
Before we wrap up, do you have any questions for us?
I'd like to learn more about the onboarding process for new engineers and how teams are structured for cross-department collaboration. I'd also be interested in hearing about the typical career progression timeline within your organization.
Thank you for asking those questions. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we conclude?
I'd just like to reiterate my enthusiasm for this role and my confidence that my skills and experience align well with the position's requirements. I appreciate the time you've taken to speak with me in depth today.
Good morning. Thank you for coming in today. Let's start with you telling me about yourself.
I appreciate the chance to speak with you. I'm an automation engineer with a background in designing and implementing control systems using LabVIEW, PLC programming, and various industrial sensors. I enjoy leveraging these tools to streamline manufacturing and testing processes.
That's a good introduction. Could you let me know how you first heard about this particular position?
A former colleague mentioned this opportunity to me, and then I saw a job posting on a specialized engineering forum. I did some research on your company's approach to factory automation and felt it could be a strong fit.
I see. What initially made you interested in our company's work?
I admire how your organization focuses on advanced automation solutions and integration of modern technologies. The emphasis on continual innovation in industrial processes drew my attention, and I want to be part of a team that tackles complex control challenges.
That's great to hear. Could you walk me through your resume so I can get a clearer sense of your experience?
Absolutely. I earned my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and subsequently joined a manufacturing plant as a junior controls engineer. Over time, I took on roles involving PLC troubleshooting, LabVIEW-based data acquisition systems, and robotic arm programming. In my most recent position, I oversaw full system integration for an automated production line, which involved coordinating mechanical, electrical, and software components.
Let's delve into your background in more detail. What did you study and why did you choose your major?
I studied electrical engineering because I've always been fascinated by circuits, machinery, and the potential of automation to improve efficiency. This major allowed me to blend theoretical principles with hands-on experimentation, which is something I really enjoy.
What were some of your most memorable academic projects?
One notable project involved designing a modular conveyor belt system that could detect object sizes and sort them accordingly. We integrated sensors, a programmable logic controller, and a user interface. It gave me valuable insights into real-world applications of control systems.
How has your education prepared you for this role?
My coursework provided a firm grounding in system dynamics, process control theory, and digital logic. Additionally, my lab projects and internships helped me develop practical skills with tools such as LabVIEW and various PLC platforms. This combination of theory and hands-on practice directly aligns with what an automation engineer needs in the field.
Thank you. Now, could you describe your current or most recent job responsibilities?
I lead a small team responsible for designing, testing, and maintaining automated machinery. This includes programming PLCs, interfacing with sensors and actuators, and creating user interfaces in LabVIEW for data collection. I also coordinate with vendors and other engineering departments to ensure system compatibility.
That sounds extensive. What are some key achievements from your previous roles?
I successfully implemented a real-time data acquisition system in LabVIEW that reduced test cycle times by 30%. I also spearheaded a safety upgrade for a set of robotic arms by reprogramming their PLC logic, which improved safety compliance and reduced downtime.
Why are you considering a job change right now?
I'm seeking a work environment that emphasizes cutting-edge automation solutions and offers more challenging projects. I want to continue learning and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with PLCs and LabVIEW integration.
Could you explain a typical workday in your current position?
I start by checking the previous day's logs for any anomalies in the production line. Then I attend a team huddle to prioritize tasks, such as troubleshooting a sensor malfunction or updating a LabVIEW data dashboard. Afternoons are often spent testing new equipment or collaborating with mechanical engineers on design improvements.
Let's talk about your technical skills relevant to this role. Could you outline them?
I'm proficient in PLC programming languages like ladder logic and structured text, mainly on Allen Bradley and Siemens platforms. I also have extensive experience with NI LabVIEW for data acquisition and HMI development. My skill set includes configuring industrial networks, integrating sensors, and optimizing control loops.
Excellent. Could you describe a complex technical problem you solved in the past?
We once had intermittent faults on a packaging line. By analyzing real-time data in LabVIEW, I identified a timing issue between the conveyor belt and the packaging station. I resynchronized the PLC logic, adjusted motor speeds, and set up feedback sensors to ensure smoother handoffs. This minimized rejects and downtime significantly.
Which programming languages or tools are you most proficient in?
Beyond PLC programming, I'm comfortable with C for embedded systems and Python for scripting tasks. However, I primarily work in LabVIEW for interface designs and specialized test equipment control. I also use industrial communication protocols like Modbus and Ethernet/IP regularly.
How do you stay updated with industry technologies, especially in automation?
I subscribe to industrial automation journals and attend webinars or conferences related to PLC technology, robotics, and new sensor developments. I also follow online forums where professionals discuss troubleshooting techniques and emerging technologies.
Let's move to soft skills. How do you handle workplace stress in high-pressure manufacturing environments?
I find it crucial to maintain a clear plan of action and communication. If something goes wrong on the production line, I gather data quickly and confer with my team members. Staying organized and focusing on one issue at a time helps me remain calm under pressure.
What is your communication style like in cross-functional teams?
I'm direct, but I also try to be empathetic. I adapt my language based on whether I'm speaking with mechanical engineers, software specialists, or operators on the floor. This approach helps to ensure everyone has a shared understanding of the problem and the proposed solution.
How do you work in team environments?
I enjoy collaborating with people who bring different perspectives. I offer support by sharing knowledge about PLC or LabVIEW tasks, and I ask for help when I encounter mechanical or process-related challenges. Together, we leverage each other's strengths.
Can you give an example of conflict resolution?
We had a disagreement over which PLC brand to use for a new system. One colleague preferred a brand they had used before, while another insisted on standardizing on a new platform. I organized a comparison meeting to evaluate costs, capabilities, and maintenance factors. Eventually, we selected a solution that was cost-effective and easy to maintain.
Next, some behavioral questions. Could you describe a time you failed and what you learned from it?
I underestimated the complexity of integrating a new sensor array into an existing system. This led to unexpected delays and higher costs. I learned the importance of conducting comprehensive feasibility studies and involving vendor support early in the design process.
Describe a situation where you demonstrated leadership.
During a project to retrofit several production lines, I supervised a small team of technicians. I scheduled tasks, provided on-the-spot training, and resolved roadblocks when installing new sensors. We completed the retrofit under budget and ahead of schedule, which was a significant accomplishment.
How do you respond to criticism regarding your work?
I take a step back and assess whether the criticism has valid points. I believe there's always room for improvement. I ask clarifying questions if needed, and then incorporate the feedback in future projects or revisions. Constructive criticism is an opportunity to grow.
Please give an example of a challenging project you completed.
We were tasked with automating a time-consuming manual inspection process. I designed a LabVIEW-based vision system integrated with PLC-driven robotic arms. The project required precise synchronization, and after thorough testing, we successfully replaced the manual process, resulting in faster throughput and more consistent quality.
How do you prioritize multiple tasks, especially when machines are down and management is requesting quick fixes?
I assess the urgency and impact of each situation. If a machine is causing significant downtime and revenue loss, that becomes the top priority. Meanwhile, smaller issues that don't impede production can be scheduled for later. I keep open communication with management to balance short-term fixes with long-term improvements.
Let's discuss role-specific scenarios. How would you handle a situation where a PLC-controlled system starts malfunctioning unexpectedly?
I'd first check error logs and diagnostic indicators on the PLC itself. Then I would verify the inputs and outputs to see if sensors or actuators are functioning correctly. If the issue is code-related, I'd run simulations or step through the logic to identify anomalies. Once I find the root cause, I'd implement a fix and thoroughly test the solution.
What would be your approach to integrating a new robotic arm into an existing automated line?
I'd begin with a needs assessment, clarifying what tasks the robotic arm will handle and any performance criteria. Then I'd ensure the robot's controller can interface with the current PLC system and LabVIEW HMIs. After establishing communication protocols, I'd gradually test movements in a safe environment, finalize cycle times, and document the entire process.
How would you improve a legacy system that is still functional but inefficient?
I'd conduct a thorough audit of the control logic, hardware, and instrumentation. Identifying bottlenecks or outdated components is the first step. After that, I'd propose upgrades such as newer PLC modules, modern HMIs, or sensor replacements that could boost efficiency without requiring a complete overhaul.
What strategies would you use to meet a tight deadline on a crucial automation project?
I'd break down the project into clearly defined tasks and milestones. I'd also verify that each team member understands their responsibilities and timescales. Regular check-ins keep everyone aligned, and risk assessments help us mitigate potential delays by planning for contingencies.
Now let's touch on career aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope to be leading complex automation projects and possibly managing a team of control engineers. I want to contribute to strategic decisions about adopting new technologies such as AI-driven predictive maintenance.
What are your long-term career goals?
Eventually, I'd like to evolve into a technical consultant or project manager who designs entire automation ecosystems for large-scale facilities. I want to blend my technical know-how with leadership skills to drive impactful changes in industry.
Why are you interested in this specific role?
This position involves working with advanced systems and a variety of industrial applications. It feels like the perfect environment for refining my skills while tackling new challenges. I appreciate the depth and diversity of projects your company undertakes.
How does this position align with your career trajectory?
It allows me to deepen my expertise in LabVIEW, PLCs, and system integration, which are core areas in my plan for continued growth. I also see opportunities to collaborate with professionals from different disciplines, which I find very rewarding.
Let's discuss company and culture fit. What do you know about our organization?
I know you specialize in turnkey automation solutions for clients in several industries. Your projects often involve a mix of hardware design, software engineering, and consulting services. This blend is fascinating to me because it covers end-to-end solutions.
Why do you specifically want to work here?
I like the fact that your company encourages continuous learning and invests in research and development. The opportunity to bring creativity into industrial automation excites me, and I believe I can contribute meaningfully to your upcoming initiatives.
How do our company values align with your personal values?
Your commitment to quality, safety, and innovation resonates strongly with me. I believe that fostering a safe environment and pushing technological boundaries can coexist, and it's precisely what I look for in an employer.
What kind of work environment do you thrive in?
I excel in a collaborative setting where transparent communication and a willingness to explore new ideas are encouraged. Being able to experiment with prototypes or new control strategies while maintaining strong teamwork is ideal for me.
Now, regarding potential challenges, could you describe a complex problem you solved recently?
We needed to integrate multiple sensors that were operating at different update rates. I wrote a custom synchronization routine in LabVIEW that aligned data sampling times across various modules. This significantly improved data reliability and simplified our process analytics.
How do you approach learning new skills in a field that keeps evolving?
I set aside time for dedicated learning each week, following reputable publications and hands-on tutorials. I also join user groups and attend training courses offered by PLC and robotics vendors. This helps me remain flexible and open to adopting new technologies.
Could you provide an example of innovative thinking in an automation context?
I once implemented a machine vision system that replaced manual quality inspections. Instead of just pass/fail analysis, I programmed the system to track minor deviations in product specifications so we could proactively adjust the manufacturing process. This saved significant time and resources.
How do you handle unexpected challenges that arise during system commissioning?
I remain calm and focus on isolating the issue. If a module isn't responding, I'll swap in a known good spare or run diagnostic tests. I document every finding and keep stakeholders informed so we can make decisions quickly, like ordering replacement parts or revising control logic.
Let's discuss salary and expectations. What are your salary expectations for this role?
Given the skills required and typical market ranges, I'm looking for a salary in the ballpark of X to Y, but I'm open to discussing details based on the overall compensation package and benefits.
Are you comfortable with our compensation structure that includes equity options?
I think equity is a valuable incentive when we're talking about a growing technology company. I am definitely open to such a structure, as long as expectations and vesting schedules are transparent.
Which benefits are important to you?
I place a high value on comprehensive health care, a retirement plan with employer matching, and opportunities for ongoing professional development. Having a supportive work-life balance is also very important to me.
Do you have any questions for us before we wrap up?
I'd love to hear more about the specific types of projects I'd be working on in my first 6 months, and whether there is a formal mentorship program for new hires.
That's a great question. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I just want to reiterate my enthusiasm for working on complex automation challenges and how I believe my background aligns with the role. I look forward to the possibility of contributing to your team.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you coming in today. Could you start by telling me about yourself?
I'm grateful for the chance to be here. I'm a sales engineer with a strong background in technical consulting and customer relationship management. I've spent the past few years helping clients understand and adopt technology solutions that address their business challenges.
Thank you. Could you tell me how you heard about this position?
I discovered the opening on a professional networking site. Afterwards, I reached out to a mutual contact who spoke very highly of your company's commitment to providing excellent customer service and robust solutions.
That's good to know. What interested you in our company specifically?
I've long admired your product line and the way your teams support clients throughout every stage of implementation. Your reputation for integrity and innovation in sales approaches is quite strong, which aligns with my personal philosophy.
Great. Can you walk me through your resume to give me an overview of your background?
Absolutely. I earned a bachelor's degree in business administration with a minor in information technology. I started my career in tech support and moved into sales engineering after gaining a deeper understanding of software platforms. I've since worked with clients across industries, offering tailored demos and proofs of concept. My most recent role involved a combination of inside sales and field visits to high-value accounts.
Let's explore your background. What did you study and why did you choose that major?
I chose business administration for its broad perspective on marketing, finance, and management. Adding an IT minor gave me the technical edge I needed to understand software and hardware products. This combination prepared me well for a role where technical knowledge and sales acumen intersect.
That sounds solid. What were your most memorable academic projects?
I worked on a market entry strategy project where we analyzed a tech startup's positioning. We evaluated competitive landscapes, identified potential partners, and created a marketing roadmap. This project showcased the importance of understanding both technical details and market demands.
How has your education prepared you for this role?
My formal education taught me to think critically and communicate value propositions effectively. The practical assignments helped me learn to translate technical features into business benefits, which is a key skill in sales engineering.
Now, let's talk about your professional experience. Could you describe your current responsibilities?
I handle the entire sales cycle from lead qualification to product demonstrations. I collaborate with the product team to ensure we address client requirements. I also negotiate contract terms and coordinate post-sales support to maintain client satisfaction.
That's quite comprehensive. What are your key achievements in previous roles?
I consistently exceeded quarterly sales targets by combining my technical understanding with strong relationship-building tactics. I also launched a series of webinars showcasing our product features, which significantly increased leads in our pipeline.
Why are you looking to change jobs at this stage?
I'm eager to work with products that have a wider market reach and more advanced features. Your organization's portfolio is well recognized, and I feel I can deliver even more value to clients using these solutions.
Can you describe a typical workday in your current position?
I usually start by reviewing leads and prioritizing follow-ups. Then I move on to product demos scheduled for the day, where I show potential clients how our solutions address their challenges. Later, I analyze feedback, handle contract negotiations, or coordinate with the technical team for custom solutions.
Let's move on to your skills and competency assessment. Can you explain which technical skills you have that are relevant here?
I'm proficient in CRM tools like Salesforce and have a solid understanding of various software platforms relevant to enterprise clients. I can configure demos and prototypes, read technical documentation, and explain complex solutions in simpler terms to clients and stakeholders.
Could you share a complex technical problem you've solved for a client?
A client had trouble integrating our software with their existing ERP system. I collaborated with their IT department to map data flows and recommended a middleware solution. After a few test runs, we successfully integrated the systems, saving them considerable time in daily operations.
Which programming languages or tools are you most comfortable with, if any?
I'm not primarily a developer, but I've dabbled in Python for scripting simple data analysis tasks. I'm more familiar with configuration and scripting tools related to CRM platforms and cloud-based product integrations.
How do you stay updated with industry technologies and trends, especially in sales?
I attend trade shows, webinars, and read industry reports. I also try to keep an ear to the ground through professional networks on LinkedIn or specialized sales forums to stay abreast of competitor offerings and emerging trends.
Let's discuss soft skills. How do you handle stress when multiple clients are pushing for demos?
I believe in setting realistic expectations and prioritizing tasks. I maintain a well-organized calendar and communicate timelines clearly. If necessary, I delegate tasks to ensure we meet commitments without compromising on quality.
What is your communication style?
I prefer transparent and empathetic communication. I believe in being clear about product capabilities while listening carefully to the client's pain points. A personalized approach often helps build trust and long-term relationships.
How do you work within a team of sales professionals?
I value collaboration, so I share leads and best practices. If someone on the team is struggling, I try to help by offering insights or suggesting alternative approaches. I think of the team's success as my own success as well.
Could you give an example of conflict resolution in a sales context?
There was a dispute with a colleague over client territory boundaries. Instead of escalating the conflict, I proposed a joint meeting where we discussed the best way to serve the client's interests. We ended up collaborating on the deal, which not only solved the conflict, but also resulted in a bigger sale.
Now for some behavioral questions. Could you describe a time you failed and what you learned from it?
Early in my career, I overlooked key decision makers in a sales pitch. The deal fell through because I didn't involve the right people at the right time. I learned the importance of stakeholder analysis and ensuring all relevant parties are engaged from the beginning.
Could you talk about a situation where you demonstrated leadership?
I led a sales workshop where I trained new team members on conducting technical demos. I created a structured training module, ran mock presentations, and provided constructive feedback. The new hires felt more confident, and our demo success rate improved.
How do you typically handle criticism?
I try to see feedback as an avenue for professional growth. If someone criticizes my approach, I'll listen carefully, evaluate whether it's valid, and then make adjustments where needed. This has helped me refine my client interaction strategies.
Please share an example of a challenging project you completed.
I once managed a complex RFP process for an enterprise client with multiple stakeholders. It involved detailed technical specifications and price negotiations. Through meticulous organization and frequent check-ins with the client's team, we secured the contract, which became one of the largest deals of the year.
How do you prioritize tasks when multiple negotiations are ongoing?
I categorize clients based on urgency and potential revenue impact. I address time-sensitive negotiations first, while still scheduling time to follow up on lower priority tasks. Keeping a well-updated CRM helps me track progress and ensure no deals slip through the cracks.
Let's look at role-specific scenarios. How would you handle a client who says your product is too expensive?
I'd focus on demonstrating the long-term value and ROI. I'd provide case studies or testimonials from similar clients who have benefited financially. Then I'd see if we can adjust the package or offer a phased implementation to align better with the client's budget.
What would be your approach if a client's technical team is skeptical of the product's capabilities?
I'd suggest a more in-depth technical demo or a proof of concept. By showing real-world performance metrics or integrating with their existing system, I can address technical doubts. Transparent communication about features and limitations is crucial to building trust.
How would you improve our lead qualification process?
I'd analyze the current funnel to see where leads drop off. Perhaps we need a more refined scoring mechanism in the CRM or better alignment between marketing and sales regarding what qualifies as a high-quality lead. Then I'd set up guidelines for follow-up timelines and content personalization.
What strategies would you use to exceed quarterly sales targets?
I'd leverage data analytics to prioritize leads that have the highest conversion potential. I'd also look for upselling opportunities with existing clients by introducing new features or product lines. Regular pipeline reviews and teamwork can also help identify any bottlenecks early on.
Let's move to career aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I envision myself leading a sales engineering team where I can mentor others and strategize on large-scale deals. I still want to stay client-focused, but with a leadership component that allows me to shape the sales strategy.
What are your long-term career goals?
Eventually, I'd like to drive business development at a higher level, possibly as a director or vice president of sales. I want to influence organizational decisions around product direction and market expansion.
Why are you interested in this specific role?
This position gives me the chance to sell a suite of solutions that are both reputable and technically robust. The company's vision for innovation and customer success aligns with my desire to provide meaningful, high-impact solutions.
How does this position fit into your larger career trajectory?
It builds on my existing skills in a new environment that challenges me to grow further. Working here will allow me to refine my expertise in dealing with enterprise-level clients and managing complex sales cycles, which are key steps for my growth path.
Let's talk about company and culture fit. What do you know about our organization?
I know your company has been at the forefront of software innovation, especially in solutions that streamline business processes for medium and large enterprises. Your commitment to customer centricity is evident from testimonials and case studies I've read.
Why do you specifically want to work here?
I'm drawn to your organization's collaborative culture and its emphasis on solving real business challenges. I also appreciate the investment you make in employee development, which is something I find motivating.
How do our company values align with yours?
Your values of integrity, customer focus, and continuous improvement match my belief in transparent communications and delivering genuine value to clients. I believe these shared principles are essential for building long-term relationships.
What type of work environment helps you succeed?
I perform best in an environment that encourages initiative and supports collaboration. Having access to knowledgeable colleagues, along with autonomy to manage my sales pipeline, helps me remain productive and creative.
Regarding potential challenges, can you describe a complex problem you've solved?
A large client wanted a custom integration that was not part of our standard offering. I collaborated with our product team to create a feasible workaround. By defining the scope clearly and iterating prototypes, we delivered a solution that satisfied the client without overcomplicating our core product.
How do you approach learning new skills in a rapidly changing market?
I take certification courses and stay informed through industry conferences. I also believe in learning from mentors and colleagues who have deeper product knowledge. Regularly challenging myself to give demos on newly launched features helps me stay on top of updates.
Give an example of innovative thinking in your sales process.
I once used virtual reality demos for a software solution aimed at retail clients. Instead of a standard slideshow, I created an immersive simulation of how the product worked in a store environment. This approach left a strong impression and helped close several deals.
How do you handle unexpected challenges, like a last-minute request from a major client?
I communicate openly about timelines and constraints. Then I gather the right resources quickly, be it tech support or product management, to address the request. I manage the client's expectations while working diligently to meet their needs if feasible.
Let's talk about salary. What are your expectations?
Based on my previous earnings and the responsibilities of this role, I would expect a base salary in the range of X to Y, plus a commission structure aligned with typical sales engineering positions.
Are you comfortable with a compensation structure that includes a significant commission component?
Yes, as long as the targets are realistic and the commission plan is transparent. I believe I perform well under performance-based incentives, provided the support and resources are in place.
What benefits are important to you?
I look for professional development support, such as covering certifications or training programs. Health benefits and a strong retirement plan are also key considerations for me.
Do you have any questions for us before we conclude?
I'd be curious to know more about the collaboration between the sales engineering team and the product development team, as well as the onboarding process you have in place for new hires.
That's an excellent question. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I want to highlight my eagerness to contribute to the growth of your product portfolio and expand your market presence. I believe my skills and passion for technology solutions can play a part in your continued success.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. Can you start by telling me about yourself?
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I'm an HR professional with experience in recruitment, employee relations, performance management, and organizational development. My approach involves nurturing a positive and productive work environment.
That's a solid introduction. How did you hear about this position?
I found the job posting on a dedicated HR forum. After reading the role description, I was intrigued by your emphasis on strategic HR initiatives alongside routine tasks like recruitment and onboarding.
Interesting. What interested you in our company?
I've followed your company's growth and noted how employee-centric your culture appears to be. Your emphasis on continuous learning and transparent communication aligns with my philosophy of supporting employees to help them reach their full potential.
Great. Could you walk me through your resume briefly?
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and began my career as an HR coordinator, primarily handling scheduling and onboarding. I later moved into a generalist role, which allowed me to tackle recruitment, benefits administration, and performance reviews. In my most recent position, I led initiatives to reduce turnover by revamping the onboarding process and introducing mentorship programs.
Let's go into your background. What did you study and why did you choose this major?
I studied psychology because I was fascinated by human behavior and interpersonal dynamics. This academic background gave me insights into motivation, conflict resolution, and team dynamics, which are vital for successful HR practices.
Were there any memorable academic projects?
I conducted a research study on employee satisfaction factors, which involved both quantitative and qualitative data analysis. That experience taught me how important it is to listen to employees and use data-driven methods to shape HR policies.
How has your education prepared you for this role?
It provided me with a strong foundation in understanding how people function individually and within groups. This knowledge has been valuable for designing processes that encourage engagement, positive morale, and continuous professional growth.
Now, could you describe your current or most recent job responsibilities?
I manage full-cycle recruitment, including job postings, screening interviews, and onboarding. I also handle employee engagement programs, performance reviews, and I serve as a mediator for internal disputes. Additionally, I collaborate with upper management to develop HR strategies that align with overall business goals.
That's quite a range. What are some key achievements you've had in your previous roles?
I successfully reduced employee turnover by 15% through the implementation of a structured onboarding program and a mentorship initiative for new hires. I also introduced a quarterly feedback process that improved communication between employees and management.
Why are you looking to change jobs at this point?
I'm seeking a role where I can be more involved in strategic decision-making and policy development at a higher level. Your company's focus on innovative HR solutions seems like the ideal next step for my career.
Can you describe a typical workday in your current position?
I start by reviewing any urgent recruitment needs or employee issues. Then I check in with department heads to align on staffing requirements or performance-related discussions. My afternoons might include hosting interviews, reviewing policies, or planning training sessions.
Let's move to skills and competency assessment. What HR-specific technical skills do you have?
I'm proficient in HRIS and applicant tracking systems such as Workday and Greenhouse. I have a strong grasp of labor laws, benefits administration, and I'm certified in various psychometric assessment tools.
Could you describe a complex HR problem you've solved?
We had an issue with high voluntary attrition among newly hired managers. I conducted exit interviews and discovered they felt isolated. I introduced a structured onboarding program, a buddy system, and regular check-ins with senior leadership. Over 6 months, we saw a marked decrease in managerial turnover.
Which tools are you most proficient with in HR tasks?
I use ATS for recruitment pipelines and performance management software for tracking goals and feedback. I also use collaboration tools like Trello and Slack to coordinate with different departments efficiently.
How do you stay updated with the latest HR trends and regulations?
I follow industry publications, attend HR conferences, and participate in online communities such as SHRM forums. I also keep track of legislative changes by subscribing to relevant newsletters and government updates.
How do you handle workplace stress, especially when multiple issues arise simultaneously?
I prioritize tasks based on urgency and potential impact on employees or the organization. If things get overwhelming, I delegate tasks appropriately, maintain clear communication with my team, and ensure we work together to meet deadlines without sacrificing employee well-being.
How would you describe your communication style?
I'm direct yet empathetic. I adapt my communication to the individual or group I'm addressing. For instance, I might use more data-driven language with senior management and a more supportive tone with employees seeking advice.
How do you function in team environments?
I believe in collective ownership of goals. I encourage team members to share ideas and expertise. If someone is struggling, I step in to offer support or resources. Conversely, I trust others to handle tasks in their area of expertise, which fosters respect and efficiency.
Can you provide an example of conflict resolution you facilitated?
There was a dispute between two employees over workload distribution. I arranged a mediation session, gathered each person's perspective, and collaborated with their manager to clarify job responsibilities. We established a shared task calendar and accountability measures. The conflict was resolved, and both employees reported improved collaboration.
Now for some behavioral questions. Could you tell me about a time you failed and what you learned?
I once tried to implement a new performance management system without adequately training managers. It caused confusion and resistance. I learned the importance of thorough preparation and stakeholder engagement when introducing significant procedural changes.
Please describe a situation where you showed leadership.
During a company restructuring, I guided a cross-departmental team to redefine job roles and reporting lines. I scheduled regular updates, encouraged open communication, and ensured everyone understood the reasons behind the changes. The process was smoother than anticipated, and employees felt supported.
How do you handle criticism, especially from upper management?
I view criticism as a form of feedback that can enhance my work. I listen carefully, ask clarifying questions if necessary, and then propose improvements or adjustments. I believe this approach demonstrates accountability and a willingness to learn.
Give an example of a challenging HR project you completed successfully.
I led a company-wide initiative to implement remote work policies. This involved gathering input from legal counsel, department heads, and IT. After drafting a policy, I arranged training sessions, established tools for virtual collaboration, and created a feedback loop. It significantly improved employee satisfaction.
How do you prioritize tasks when several departments have urgent HR needs?
I assess the impact on the organization and employees. If there's a compliance issue, that takes immediate precedence. I also communicate timelines openly with department managers to ensure they understand why certain tasks might be delayed, and I use project management tools to keep everything on track.
Now, some role-specific scenario questions. How would you handle a sudden surge in recruitment needs across multiple departments?
I would quickly gather the hiring priorities and timelines from department heads. Then I'd allocate resources or hire temporary recruiters if needed. Streamlining job postings, using employee referrals, and leveraging social media could expedite the recruitment process. I'd also implement strict tracking to ensure no candidate falls through the cracks.
What would be your approach to a recurring conflict between employees in the same team?
First, I'd gather information from both parties and their supervisor to understand the root cause. I'd then schedule a mediation session where each side can express concerns and identify possible resolutions. If necessary, we could involve a coach or training sessions to address communication gaps.
How would you improve our onboarding process if you noticed new hires were struggling to adapt?
I'd conduct surveys or interviews to identify pain points. Then I'd redesign the onboarding schedule to include a buddy program, regular check-ins, and clear milestone-based training. I'd work with team leads to ensure the onboarding materials are easy to follow and relevant to each role.
What strategies would you use to enhance employee engagement company-wide?
I might propose forming an employee council to gather feedback. I'd also introduce regular team-building events, recognition programs, and transparent communication on company goals. Reviewing metrics like turnover rate and satisfaction surveys would help track the success of these initiatives.
Let's talk about your career aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I would like to be in a position where I can shape organization-wide HR strategies, possibly as an HR director or a people operations leader. I want to be driving policy changes and championing a work culture that supports employee development.
What are your long-term career goals?
Ultimately, I want to be a VP of HR or Chief People Officer, guiding a company's HR vision and ensuring that human capital is leveraged effectively to support business objectives while maintaining a positive employee experience.
Why are you interested in this specific HR role?
It offers a blend of strategic and operational responsibilities. I'm drawn to the possibility of influencing company culture at a higher level while still being involved in hands-on tasks like recruitment and training.
How does this position align with your career trajectory?
It allows me to expand my impact beyond day-to-day tasks and contribute to long-range organizational strategies. The opportunity to collaborate with senior leadership on initiatives is exactly what I'm looking for.
What do you know about our company's culture and values?
I understand that you emphasize open communication, continuous improvement, and employee well-being. This is reflected in your community involvement programs and strong internal mobility track record.
Why do you want to work here?
I value organizations that prioritize employee satisfaction and foster a transparent environment. Your track record in promoting from within and supporting professional growth is particularly compelling to me.
How do our company values align with your personal values?
My approach to HR focuses on respect, growth, and innovation. From what I've researched, your company encourages these very principles, making it a place where I feel I could contribute effectively.
What kind of work environment do you thrive in?
I do well in collaborative, fast-paced settings where communication flows easily and employees are given the tools they need to excel. I also appreciate an environment where management is receptive to suggestions that can improve processes.
Now about challenges. Can you describe a complex problem you solved in your HR career?
I once had to integrate the HR policies of two merged companies that had very different cultures. I worked with key stakeholders from both sides to create unified policies that addressed the most critical differences, while preserving each company's strengths.
How do you approach learning new skills in the ever-evolving field of HR?
I routinely attend workshops or webinars offered by professional HR associations, and I stay certified through regular continuing education. I also network with other HR professionals to share best practices and learn about new tools or methodologies.
Give an example of innovative thinking you've applied in your HR practices.
I introduced a gamified training program that awarded points for completing different modules, which employees could exchange for small perks. This approach significantly increased participation and made the training process more engaging.
How do you handle unexpected challenges, like an urgent compliance issue that arises?
I gather all necessary information swiftly, consult the relevant regulations, and communicate with legal counsel if needed. Then I address the issue head-on with a clear plan of action, ensuring all stakeholders are informed about next steps and timelines.
Let's cover salary expectations. What do you expect for this position?
Given the scope of responsibilities and my experience, I would anticipate a salary in the range of X to Y. However, I'm open to discussing specifics once we have a mutual understanding of the full compensation package.
Are you comfortable with our performance-based bonus structure?
Yes, I believe that performance-based bonuses can be a great motivator, especially if the goals are transparent and aligned with company objectives. I look forward to exploring how those metrics are set.
Which benefits are most important to you in an HR role?
Comprehensive health coverage, opportunities for professional development, and a supportive work-life balance are very important to me. I believe these factors are essential for maintaining high performance over the long term.
Before concluding, do you have any questions for us?
I would love to know more about your plans for expanding the HR team and whether there will be opportunities to participate in cross-functional initiatives, such as diversity and inclusion programs.
Thank you for asking. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I just want to emphasize my excitement about joining a forward-thinking company that values its employees as much as I do. I believe my background and passion for strategic HR initiatives can make a meaningful contribution here.